The St. Peter's family is traumatized. The patriarch of their family is dead.
But the question is, could he have been saved? David Bell was one of the directors for St. Charles County's Central County Fire District. His wife tells us they made multiple visits to Barnes-Jewish St. Peter's Hospital for health issues. But each time, she says the hospital refused to admit him. Only News 4's Ashley Lincoln's been talking to Bell's family. Ashley, they're asking for an investigation.
That's right, Samantha. The family tells me that they are concerned someone else could be turned away. Now, Bell's wife tells me that they went to this ER because it was close to their home. Her husband had been complaining about chest pain, and each time, she says, doctors sent him home with ibuprofen.
We went because it was close.
It's a decision Sadie Bell says she regrets.
I know I can't blame myself, but I wish I would have took him somewhere else.
I just turned 38.
Her husband, David Bell, died in the parking lot of the Barnes-Jewish St. Peter's Hospital after he'd been complaining about severe chest pain.
He would give his last to anybody. I felt like what he was going through was urgent. And that's what I thought emergency rooms were for.
The weekend of January 8th, she took David to the ER twice. Both times, she says, medical staff refused to admit the 39-year-old father of three, only prescribing him ibuprofen and diagnosing him with an inflamed heart. Bell went a third time, but this time, while at work, it was a fellow employee at Central County Fire and Rescue who took him. Sadie Bell says the employee became concerned after David started having breathing problems.
I called him. I said, "What hospital did you take him to?" He said, "I went on and took him back to Barnes-Jewish because I know that's where y'all had been going." I said, "Oh, I just wish you wouldn't have took him there." He said, "Well, why not?" And I said, "Because every time that we have taken him, all they did was give him ibuprofen and send him home. And I really think they're missing something."
When Bell got to the hospital, she says her husband was sitting outside in a wheelchair. After begging doctors to run tests and admit him, she says they refused.
He said, "Well, ma'am, he's already been here twice for the same thing, and we already diagnosed him."
Fed up, they decided to go to another hospital, but then
We got halfway to the car, and he said, "Oh, Sadie." And I said, "Baby, what's wrong?" And I started running and screaming, "Help me, please help me." His arm went up, his eyes went up back in his head, and he slumped down, and I already knew. I knew when he needed the help, they didn't help him. Bell says she believes her husband received a lack of treatment because both doctors and medical staff dismissed him. Now, both she and medical reports that we found say that African Americans often have a high mortality rate because they don't receive the same level of health care as white counterparts. I just don't understand why they wouldn't help him.
Numbers from the American Medical Association show Black Americans' mortality rate is 24% higher than white Americans. One of the main contributing factors the AMA points out is doctors not addressing pain levels from Black patients.
I don't want any family to feel what we're feeling right now.
News 4 reached out to Barnes-Jewish for a comment. They told us due to privacy laws, they cannot share details on Bell's case.
When people come to ask you for help and they need help, I shouldn't have to come 1, 2, 3 times. I shouldn't have to be sitting here grieving my husband. My children should not have to not have a father.
And we found out that Bell was tested for COVID. That test came back negative. Now we're waiting autopsy results to determine the death of Bell. Now a GoFundMe account has been set up to help the family. We'll have all of that information on our News 4 app. Reporting live, Ashley Lincoln, News 4.
We are in store for a cold night. There's a little bit of a warm up on the way. It comes with some rain.